In December 2018, a video of a man slapping his old middle school teacher on the street for 1 minute went viral online. Some thought the man was a hero for doing something many people wanted to do, but were afraid to. Others thought he was disrespecting the teacher and acting immorally. The outcome of the situation surprised most people. Welcome to Red Eastern True Crime. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to my channel. Let's dive into this story. The man who slapped the teacher is 33-year-old Chang Renyao, and the teacher who was slapped is Zhang Qinglin, who is in his 50s. In July 2018, Yao and his wife, who work in Hangzhou, Zhejiang Province, returned to their hometown in Luoyang, Hainan Province, to visit their rural village in Luanchuan County. One afternoon, Yao and some friends decided to go fishing. As they drove to a spot in Luanchuan Township, they realized they had forgotten their fishing gear. So Yao and one of his friends stayed put and waited for another friend to bring the gear by car. While waiting by the roadside, Yao saw a familiar figure riding a scooter toward him. It was his former English teacher from 2nd grade in middle school, Mr. Zhang. Seeing Mr. Zhang brought back painful memories for Yao. He said to his friend, "If it's really him, please film it for me." Right after that, Yao stopped Mr. Zhang, who was riding the scooter, and asked, "Are you Mr. Zhang?" When he got a yes, Yao kept asking, "Do you remember me? Do you remember how you used to beat me?" In his emotional state, Yao slapped Mr. Zhang a few times. After a minute, he had Mr. Zhang push the scooter to the side of the road and began to help Mr. Zhang remember how he once beat him. Yao said, "It's okay to discipline a student for not paying attention in class, but it's not right to beat him just because he comes from a poor family." Getting more and more angry as he spoke, Yao punched Mr. Zhang in the chest. He continued, "It's been almost 20 years, and I still have nightmares about what happened." Mr. Zhang didn't fight back. Instead, he reached out and gently patted Yao on the shoulder and said, "I'm sorry." After seeing the person who once hurt him now appear innocent and weak, Yao felt very angry. Deep down, he wished that Mr. Zhang was still as fierce and ruthless as before, so that he could return to his 13-year-old self and bravely resist his teacher's abuse. In a fit of emotion, Yao angrily kicked over the scooter. Finally, persuaded by the crowd, Yao stopped complaining and let Mr. Zhang go. After venting his frustration, Yao felt no relief. He didn't even feel like fishing anymore and just went home. When Mr. Zhang returned home, he was probably embarrassed that he had been beaten and insulted by his former student. He told his family that the bruises on his face were from accidentally falling off his scooter. The video is 9 minutes and 20 seconds long and was filmed in July 2018. In the first minute, Yao slaps Mr. Zhang several times, and the rest of the time is spent arguing. A month after the incident, while chatting with his middle school friend A, Yao mentioned the incident and sent the video to friend A, telling him not to show it to anyone. In November, a few months later, he sent the video to friend B on WeChat, also warning him not to send it to anyone. However, friend B quickly shared it with some other classmates out of excitement. Another month passed, and by December 16, 2018, the video had been shared and edited multiple times, leaving only a 1-minute clip of the physical altercation. It highlighted a man assaulting his teacher after 20 years. The clip quickly spread from many WeChat groups to various social media platforms, leading to the rapid exposure of Yao's personal information. Mr. Zhang's colleagues and neighbors found out about the incident, which made him very angry. A few days later, Mr. Zhang went to the local police station to report that Yao had assaulted him on the street and intentionally recorded the incident to post online, which severely affected his life. Yao then posted a video to clarify the situation, admitting his mistake in hitting Mr. Zhang, but claiming that Mr. Zhang was also partly responsible. Yao later wrote a longer post telling his side of the story.
我可以这样告诉大家，因为我没错，我打他是有错，但是错的不止我一个人，他最起码是要负50%的责任。
Born in 1985 in Luanchuan County, Henan Province, Yao had a tough upbringing as his parents divorced when he was young. He was a bit naughty and lacked self-confidence. After finishing primary school in the countryside, he attended the Luanchuan County Experimental Middle School. In his first year of junior high school, he started learning English from Mr. Gao, a kind and dedicated teacher. However, Mr. Gao left after 1 year, leaving Yao and his classmates in tears. When Yao started his second year of junior high, Mr. Zhang became their new English teacher. The next year was a nightmare for Yao, as Mr. Zhang often physically punished and assaulted students. His school had a reputation for the four tyrants, teachers known for being the harshest and most severe in disciplining students, and Mr. Zhang was one of them. During this time, Mr. Zhang was nothing like the calm and gentle person in the video. Instead, he completely lost control and became violent and aggressive, almost like he was going crazy. He physically attacked many students in front of the whole class. For example, when Yao dozed off in class, Mr. Zhang made him crouch under the podium. While Yao was cowering, Mr. Zhang kicked his head several times. Yao was always afraid and kept his head down. This kind of situation happened several times. In addition to physical abuse, Yao was often humiliated. His family was very poor at the time, and when the school year began, he was the only one in the class who hadn't paid his tuition. In front of everyone, Mr. Zhang would say, "Who hasn't paid the tuition? Hurry up and pay, or don't bother coming to school." Feeling insulted, Yao complained to the principal. The principal spoke to Mr. Zhang, and the result was that Mr. Zhang instructed a strong student to physically attack Yao whenever he misbehaved. Eventually, this student told Yao about the arrangement. Yao never told his grandmother or father about the abuse he suffered at school, because he didn't want to worry his grandmother, and he knew his father would blame him for misbehaving. In one of the worst incidents, after physically assaulting Yao, Mr. Zhang angrily grabbed a wide wooden plank and forcefully shoved it into the back of Yao's shirt. He made Yao stand on the podium as if he were a condemned prisoner awaiting execution. Yao could never forget this scene, and it was difficult for him to get over it. During the 2 semesters that Mr. Zhang was Yao's teacher, many students were physically punished, but none of them fought back. Only one student transferred after being slapped by Mr. Zhang. Despite causing emotional and physical harm to many students, Mr. Zhang never faced any consequences from the school. Finally, at the beginning of the 3rd year of junior high school, Mr. Zhang was transferred out of their class. In the following years, Yao worked hard and was accepted into a military academy in Zhengzhou, Henan Province. After graduation, he worked in Zhengzhou for a few years. In 2011, at the age of 26, Yao moved to Hangzhou, Zhejiang Province, to open an online clothing store on Jack Ma's e-commerce platform. His business grew steadily, and Yao even financed the construction of a 2-story building for his father in his hometown. After starting work, Yao and his middle school classmates had several gatherings. Whenever they remembered Mr. Zhang's past misdeeds, they all felt very angry and wronged. Yao also shared this experience with his wife, and thought that being a father himself would help him heal, but the trauma still caused him nightmares. In July 2018, when Yao saw Mr. Zhang on the street, he decided to seek justice for his 13-year-old self. He mentioned that he was completely sober and clear-headed that day, without having consumed any alcohol. The incident went viral for 10 days, with nearly 100,000 related posts online, and reaching over 680 million viewers. Major news outlets also covered the event. Based on online comments, the majority of people found Yao's actions understandable, while a minority felt that violence was not the answer. Many netizens also shared their own stories of being physically disciplined by teachers. Shortly after Mr. Zhang reported the incident to the police, the Luanchuan County Experimental Middle School issued a letter accusing Yao of assaulting and insulting a teacher at their school. The letter claimed that Mr. Zhang had been physically and emotionally harmed, affecting his work and personal life. It also accused Yao of harboring hatred toward teachers calling him a thug, social scum, and even a member of the criminal mafia. The school demanded severe punishment for Yao and wanted him to face legal consequences. On December 18th, the Luanchuan County Experimental Middle School reported the incident to the local police, who began an investigation. After hearing this, Yao bought a train ticket to return from Hangzhou to Luanchuan County for questioning. It was only then that Yao's father learned of what his son had gone through as a child. In a later interview, Yao's father mentioned that many in his family had served in the military, and that his family had always been strict with their children. On December 20 at noon, Yao was arrested at Hangzhou East Railway Station and taken back by police to Luanchuan County. The Luanchuan County Procuratorate then charged Yao with provocation and picking quarrels. A few days after Yao's arrest, many villagers from his village went together to the local police station and handed in a petition entitled, "Petition from Leiwan Village Residents Seeking Justice for Yao." The petition, signed and thumbprinted by more than 100 villagers, expressed their belief that there was a reason behind the incident and their hope that the government would consider their plea. They described Yao as a caring and generous person who often donated clothes from his shop to needy villagers, helped pay medical expenses for sick elderly villagers, and helped young people find jobs by recommending them for opportunities in Hangzhou. At the same time, 15 of Yao's former middle school classmates and friends are willing to testify on his behalf, confirming that Mr. Zhang physically punished and beat Yao in the classroom. They believe that Yao's problems were personal and related to Mr. Zhang, not a reflection of any general animosity toward teachers. In fact, Yao has always shown great respect for teachers. Every Teacher's Day, he would wish teachers a happy holiday on social media. When he got married, he even invited his college teacher. When he learned that his high school teacher needed heart surgery, but had financial difficulties, he immediately donated 10,000 RMB, about $1,500, because this teacher had often encouraged him and helped him build confidence, and he was very grateful. Mr. Zhang denies physically hitting students, and his wife describes him as honest and easygoing with his family. He told a reporter, "He doesn't see me as his teacher, but I still see him as my student. When the time comes for me to speak up for him, I will definitely do so." However, Yao's family and friends have tried to apologize to Mr. Zhang and are willing to offer him financial compensation. But Mr. Zhang refuses to meet with them, rejects their apologies, and is unwilling to write a letter of forgiveness. On the morning of June 12, 2019, the case was heard in public at the Luanchuan County Court in Luoyang City, Henan Province. The prosecutor argued that Yao's actions amounted to the crime of provocation and picking quarrels, alleging that he intentionally retaliated against the victim, vented his discontent, intercepted, insulted, and assaulted him, recorded a video, and then spread the video. Yao's lawyer argued that while his actions were wrong, they did not constitute a crime. The lawyer suggested that Yao should be held accountable for intentional harm, but the injuries suffered by Mr. Zhang did not meet the criteria for minor injuries, and therefore did not qualify as intentional harm. The lawyer suggested that Yao should be punished under the Public Security Administration punishment law, rather than the criminal law, and also clarified that Yao did not personally share the video online. According to Wikipedia, the crime of provocation and causing trouble, formerly called hooliganism, has existed in China since 1979. It covers a wide range of behaviors and is considered one of the pocket crimes. If someone is convicted of this crime and found guilty of disturbing social order, they could face up to 5 years in prison. However, if the offense is classified under the Public Security Administration punishment law, the punishment is usually only a verbal warning, a fine, or detention. Mr. Zhang did not attend the trial. The vice principal of his school testified on his behalf, describing Mr. Zhang as shy and reserved, and stating that there had been no reports of misconduct on his part at the school. However, when Yao's attorney asked the vice principal if Mr. Zhang had ever physically punished Yao, the vice principal admitted that he was unsure. He explained that he had not worked at the school 20 years ago, and therefore had no knowledge of events from that time. In the end, Yao apologized to Mr. Zhang and his family, expressing regret for his actions and reading a handwritten letter of apology. A month later, on July 10, 2019, the court sentenced Yao to 1 year and 6 months in prison for provocation and picking quarrels. Yao immediately appealed the sentence. On August 19th, the court rejected his appeal and upheld the original sentence. After the incident, Mr. Zhang continued to teach as usual. Among his colleagues, he was considered an ordinary teacher. After the year 2000, he switched from teaching English to teaching history, perhaps because he was getting older or because of the popularity of smartphones. His temper seemed to soften, and he stopped using physical punishment on students. So when the incident happened, his current students couldn't believe it. They saw Mr. Zhang as easygoing, honest, and a bit shy. While Yao was in prison, his wife said that she had filed a lawsuit and reported Mr. Zhang for physical abuse and mistreatment of Yao in the past. However, due to the lack of concrete evidence beyond a few witness statements and the expiration of the statute of limitations, they received no response. On June 19, 2020, Yao was released from prison, and a touching moment of reunion with his wife was captured. He later appeared on a talk show, where he shared his plans to focus on making money to start a new life with his wife and daughter. Yao expressed his desire to let go of resentment and avoid holding grudges, and emphasized his intention to engage in charitable activities to help others who have gone through similar experiences. He acknowledged that seeking revenge through violence had brought him no relief and had come at a high cost. Throughout the interview, Yao was careful with his words for fear of saying the wrong thing. Was Yao's harsh sentence a result of the government's concern that a lenient punishment could lead to more retaliation and disrupt social order? Or was it a message to emphasize the importance of respecting teachers, parents, leaders, and authority figures, regardless of whether they are right or wrong? Incidents of students being physically punished and abused by teachers are still common, and many are recorded and shared online. However, no teachers have been sentenced to prison for these actions, and only a few have faced school discipline or dismissal. What do you think about this case? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to my channel.